Have you ever walked into your home, looked around, and just felt tired? Not because you've done anything yet, but because the visual clutter already feels like a mental burden. A jacket thrown over the chair, receipts piling up on the counter, that corner of the room that somehow became a temporary storage zone 3 months ago, and it's still there. I get it. I used to think I just needed a better organizing system. More boxes, more shelves, maybe another trip to IKEA. But the truth is, it's not about where we put our stuff. It's about what we choose to keep in the first place. That's when I stumbled upon the Japanese approach to decluttering. And let me tell you, it completely changed the way I see my space, and honestly, my life. This video isn't just about cleaning or tidying up. It's about creating a home that doesn't drain your energy the moment you walk in. It's about making space, physically and mentally, for the things that actually matter to you. The Japanese don't see decluttering as a chore. They see it as a quiet ritual, a way to reconnect with what brings them joy and clarity. It's not about throwing everything away. It's about keeping only what truly serves you. So, if you're tired of feeling weighed down by stuff you don't even notice anymore, stick with me. I'm going to share 7 minimalist decluttering tips inspired by Japanese philosophy that can help you feel lighter, not just at home, but in your head too. And no, you don't have to be a monk or a minimalist to try this. You just have to be curious enough to ask, what if less really is more? Ready? Let's get into it. Tip 1. Get rid of everything you no longer use. Let me ask you something. Do you have anything in your home right now that you haven't used in over a year? Be honest. Maybe it's that waffle maker collecting dust in the back of the cabinet, or a jacket that doesn't quite fit but might come in handy someday. We all have them, little things that seemed useful at one point or were too expensive to just toss, or were gifts we never really liked but felt guilty getting rid of. I used to hold on to stuff like that all the time. You know what I told myself? I might need it one day. But here's the truth, and it might sting a little, that one day almost never comes, and in the meantime, that item is taking up space, not just in your home, but in your mind. The Japanese have a beautifully simple philosophy here. If you haven't used something in the past year, chances are you're never going to. And honestly, they're right. That kind of clarity hit me like a wave. Because the stuff I was keeping just in case, it wasn't helping me. It was weighing me down. So here's the first step. Start noticing the things in your home that are quietly existing without a purpose. Things you haven't touched, worn, used, or even thought about for months. You don't have to do a massive purge right away. Just pick one small category, like old clothes or kitchen gadgets, and look at each item. Ask yourself, not could I use this again, but do I actually want this in my life right now? And I know this is where it gets tricky. There's always that emotional resistance. But my aunt gave me this scarf. Or what if I lose weight and it fits again? But here's something I learned from Japanese minimalism. Letting go of an item doesn't mean you're disrespecting it. In fact, you can honor it. Thank it for the role it played, however small, and then pass it along to someone who might actually need it. That little shift in mindset, it's powerful. For me, it started with a pair of old running shoes. They were expensive. I'd only worn them a few times, and I kept telling myself I'd use them again, someday. But every time I saw them, I felt guilty. Like I'd failed to live up to some past version of myself who thought I'd be running marathons by now. Sound familiar? So one day I picked them up, said, "Thanks for the memories," and donated them to a local shelter. And just like that, it felt like a weight had lifted. I'm not saying it's always easy, but the payoff? It's huge. More space, less mental clutter. And most importantly, you stop surrounding yourself with things that feel like unfinished business. Here's something interesting. Studies have shown that clutter increases cortisol levels, the stress hormone, in your body. That means that drawer full of random cables, or the closet packed with clothes you never wear, it's literally making you more anxious. When we clear out the unnecessary, we're not just making our space look nicer, we're creating a calmer, more focused mind. And here's the bonus. Someone else might truly need what you no longer use. Donating that winter coat you never wear could mean warmth for someone else this season. Letting go isn't loss, it's redistribution. So, the next time you find yourself hesitating over an old blender or a stretched out sweater, try this. Hold it, acknowledge it, and ask yourself, does this serve me now? If not, maybe it's time to say goodbye. That's the first step, and it's the one that opens the door to all the rest. Tip 2. Gather and sort items by category. So now that you've started letting go of things you no longer use, the next question is, what do I actually have left? And more importantly, how much of it? Here's the thing. Most of us underestimate how much stuff we own. Why? Because it's scattered everywhere. There's a jacket in the hallway closet, 3 more in the bedroom, and one that somehow ended up on the back of your office chair for the past 6 months. Sound familiar? This is where the Japanese approach really shifts the game. Instead of tidying by location, like, I'll clean the living room today, you tidy by category. That means gathering every single item from the same type, all in one place. All your books, all your makeup, all your tech gear, cables, chargers, whatever. Doesn't matter where they're hiding, pull them out and put them together. And yes, that might sound like more work, but trust me, it's so much more effective. Why? Because when everything is laid out in front of you, you see the truth. Like, do you really need 14 black t-shirts or 5 bottle openers? I remember doing this with my mugs. I thought I had maybe 6 or 7, but when I pulled every single one from the kitchen, the back of the cabinets, the office shelf, I had 23. 23 mugs for one person who mostly drinks coffee from the same 2 every day. That moment of, whoa, how did I end up with this much, is important. It's not about guilt, it's about awareness. We accumulate so gradually that we don't notice the excess until we put it all in one spot. The Japanese call this part the gathering, and it's powerful because it shows you the full picture, not a fragment. It gives you the perspective you need to make clear decisions. Another benefit? It saves you time. Seriously. Instead of bouncing from room to room and second-guessing whether you've already dealt with something, you deal with each category once. Clothes? Done. Books? Done. No loopbacks, no mental fatigue. A great place to start is with categories that are straightforward, like clothes, shoes, hats, bags. These are usually easier to sort through emotionally, and the visual results are satisfying. You'll see space open up almost immediately, and that gives you the momentum to keep going. And when you're sorting, keep it simple. Just 2 piles, what stays and what goes. No maybe pile. If it's a maybe, it's probably a no. Here's a small tip that helps. When you gather everything together, use your bed or a large table as the display space. Seeing all your belongings from one category in a single view changes your relationship with them. It's like finally facing the facts, and it makes the choosing process more mindful. Now, let's be real, the first time you do this, it might feel overwhelming. That's okay, don't try to do your entire life in one weekend. Pick one category, one drawer, one shelf. The goal isn't speed, it's clarity. And once you experience how satisfying it is to see only what you love, neatly categorized and visible, you won't want to go back. So don't worry about perfection, just start by gathering. Trust the process. Everything you need to know about your stuff and yourself starts showing up when it's all laid out in front of you. Tip 3. Declutter by category, not by room. So, here's something that might go against everything we were taught about cleaning. Don't tidy up by room. Yeah, I know, that sounds strange. Most of us were raised with the idea of, today I'll clean the kitchen, or let me tackle the bedroom this weekend. It makes sense on paper, right? One space at a time from top to bottom. But here's the problem. Have you ever spent hours cleaning a room, vacuuming, organizing, wiping down every surface, only to look around 2 days later and wonder, wait, how did it get messy again so fast? That feeling is frustrating, like you're constantly tidying but never really making progress. The Japanese KonMari method turns that logic on its head. Instead of tidying by space, you tidy by category. It sounds like a small change, but trust me, it makes a huge difference. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're trying to clean your living room. You start folding blankets, organizing books, maybe throwing out some old magazines. But then you notice a pair of shoes lying around, so you take them to your bedroom. Then you see a pile of laundry, so you head to the laundry room, and before you know it, you're tidying 5 rooms at once, feeling scattered and not actually finishing anything. Now imagine this instead. You decide today is book day. You gather every book from every room, bedroom, office, living room, even the random one in the bathroom, and lay them all out on the floor. Suddenly, you're not bouncing between spaces. You're focused. You see exactly how many books you have, how many you truly love, and which ones you're ready to let go. It creates what I call completion clarity. When you finish sorting one category, it's done. You can check it off completely. And that sense of progress, it's motivating. Another reason this works so well is emotional energy. Different categories carry different levels of emotional weight. Clothes are usually easier to part with than sentimental items like letters or photos. If you tidy by room, you're likely to hit a mix of emotional highs and lows all at once, which leads to burnout. But when you go category by category, you can build your decision-making muscles over time. And it's not just about stuff, it's about focus. Tidying by room keeps you in a loop of reacting. Where does this go? What about this drawer? You're constantly switching gears. Tidying by category, on the other hand, puts you in a mindset of intention. You're not just rearranging things, you're choosing what belongs in your life. When I first tried this, I started with clothes. I brought everything out. Even the scarves I'd stuffed in my suitcase, the jacket I left in the car trunk. Seeing it all in one place felt a little overwhelming, but also freeing. And once I was done, there was this amazing sense of peace knowing that I had truly sorted all of it, not just the stuff in one closet. So, if you've ever felt like tidying just leads to more tidying, maybe it's time to switch the lens. Don't think, which room should I clean? Think, which category do I want to finish today? Trust me, your future self will thank you. And hey, the best part? Once a category is truly done, it rarely gets messy again. Why? Because you've made intentional decisions, not just moved things around. So the next time you feel the urge to clean up your space, remember, categories, not corners. That's where real change begins. Tip 4. Assign a home for every item. Have you ever gone searching for your keys, again, and found them in the fridge? Okay, maybe not the fridge, but definitely not where you thought they'd be. Or, how about this? You're already late for work, and your earbuds have vanished. You saw them yesterday, so why are they suddenly in another dimension? That tiny moment of frustration? It adds up. Not just in wasted minutes, but in the mental energy you spend looking for things that should just be where they belong. The Japanese have a wonderfully practical solution to this. Every item in your home should have a designated place. A home within your home, not a general area, like somewhere in the drawer, but a clear, fixed spot that item always returns to. It's called assigning a home to each object. And once you start doing it, the chaos starts to fade away. Here's why it works. When you know exactly where something lives, you stop thinking about it. You're not making micro decisions every time you need your scissors or the TV remote. Your brain switches to autopilot, and that's a good thing. Take my keys, for example. I used to drop them wherever, couch, kitchen counter, inside my tote bag. But then I hung a little hook right by the front door. Now, they go there the moment I walk in. I don't even think about it anymore. And I haven't lost them in over a year. It's not about being obsessive. It's about creating systems that make your life easier without you even noticing. Because honestly, most of the clutter in our homes doesn't come from having too much stuff. It comes from stuff not having a place to go. Think about your kitchen for a second. If your utensils are in a drawer organizer, your cutting boards have a stand, and your spices are in one rack. Cooking feels smoother, right? Now, apply that logic to the rest of your home. Your phone charger, your sunglasses, your reusable shopping bags, each of them can have a designated home. And here's the kicker. When something has a place, it's more likely to return to that place. Not just because you remember, but because everyone else in your home does too. It sets up an unspoken system the whole household can follow. There's even some psychology behind this. Studies in behavioral science show that we're more likely to repeat actions that are frictionless. If putting something away takes zero effort, just drop the remote in the basket next to the couch, you'll do it without thinking. If it requires hunting down a space, opening a cabinet, or playing Tetris with other items, forget it. It'll just sit wherever you last used it. So the key is simplicity. Make homes for your things visible, accessible, and logical. Keep daily use items close to where you actually use them. Remote goes by the TV. Coffee filters go by the machine. Yoga mat? Near where you work out, not buried under your bed. You can even label things if it helps, especially in shared spaces. Baskets, trays, wall hooks, these little tools aren't just about organizing. They're about anchoring habits. And the payoff? It's not just a tidier home. It's peace of mind. You You stop asking, "Where did I put that?" and start trusting that everything you need is exactly where it should be. So, if your home still feels a little chaotic, ask yourself this: does everything I use actually have a home? If not, now's the perfect time to start assigning them one. You'll be surprised how something so simple can feel like such a big relief. Tip 5. Declutter first, clean the room after. Here's a question. When you clean a room, what's the first thing you usually do? Most people start with the surfaces, dust the shelves, vacuum the floor, wipe down the furniture. Then, and only then, they tackle the stuff. But here's the thing. That order, it's backwards, at least according to the Japanese approach to tidying, and once you try switching it, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. The idea is simple. Before you clean your space, clean out the stuff. Sort it, organize it, put it in its proper place, or let it go. Only after you've done that do you move on to wiping and sweeping and scrubbing. It sounds subtle, but this little shift saves you so much time and energy. Think about it. Have you ever wiped down a table only to have to re-clean it after moving a pile of books? Or vacuumed the floor, then realized you needed to reorganize a bunch of storage bins, kicking up dust all over again? When you clean the room before dealing with the stuff, you end up doing everything twice. But when you clear the clutter first, the actual cleaning part becomes fast, easy, and, dare I say it, kind of satisfying. I learned this the hard way. I used to spend hours deep cleaning my space. I'd wipe down every surface, light a candle, feel great, and then look around and realize the mess was still there. The items didn't have a home. They'd drift back out again. I wasn't cleaning, I was rearranging chaos. Now, I flip the order. I start by sorting the items, what stays, what goes, and where everything belongs. Once I've done that, the dusting and vacuuming is a breeze. The room feels truly finished. Not just tidied, but transformed. There's also a deeper benefit here, beyond just efficiency. Cleaning after you've decluttered feels more meaningful. You're not just wiping surfaces, you're caring for a space that already feels intentional. It becomes less of a chore and more of a final touch, a way to honor the room and the decisions you've made. It's kind of like setting a table after you've cooked a great meal. You're not rushing to get it over with. You're adding the finishing layer that brings it all together. And hey, the science backs this up too. Studies show that clutter can actually make us feel more fatigued, less focused, even more prone to procrastination. So, when you remove the excess before you clean, you're also clearing the mental fog that makes everything feel harder. One trick that helps is this. Before you pick up a sponge or mop, pause and scan the room. Ask yourself, is everything in here supposed to be here? If the answer is no, spend 10-15 minutes just putting things in their proper place first. You'll be amazed how much faster the rest goes. And if you're short on time, you don't have to overhaul the whole space. Even just clearing off and organizing one surface, your desk, a dresser, the kitchen island, can give you a little boost of motivation to keep going. So next time you clean, remember, don't rush for the vacuum. Start with the stuff. The real transformation begins when the clutter goes away. Then everything else starts to shine. Tip 6. Follow a clear priority order. If you've ever tried to declutter your home all in one go, you probably know how quickly things can get overwhelming. You start with the closet, move on to the bookshelf, and before you know it, you're knee-deep in a pile of old birthday cards and childhood photos, completely emotionally drained and wondering, why did I start this in the first place? That's why the Japanese method doesn't just focus on what to tidy, but in what order. And this part is genius. There's a specific priority list that helps ease you into the process. It starts with the easiest categories, the ones that don't carry much emotional weight, and gradually moves toward the ones that do. The idea is to build your decision-making muscles first, so by the time you get to the tougher stuff, you've already strengthened your clarity and confidence. Here's the suggested order. Clothes first, then books, then papers, followed by miscellaneous items like kitchen tools, cords, makeup, and finally, emotional items. You know, the sentimental stuff. Photos, gifts, souvenirs, anything attached to memories. Why clothes first? Because, let's face it, they're relatively easy. You already know which jeans fit and which ones don't. You know which shirts you haven't worn in years. It's a straightforward category that doesn't usually tug too hard at your heartstrings. Books are next, and while they can be a bit more sentimental, especially if you're a reader, they're still pretty manageable. If you're honest with yourself, You probably already know which ones you'll actually read again, and which ones you're just keeping out of guilt or aspiration. Papers come third, things like bills, documents, and receipts. They're not fun, but they're functional. The good news is that this category usually has clear criteria. Do you need it legally? Is it still valid? If not, recycle it. Then you hit the wild card, miscellaneous stuff. This is where most of our clutter lives, because it's all the random things that don't belong to a clear category. Kitchen gadgets you haven't used in years, tangled cords for devices you don't own anymore, beauty products long past their prime. This step can be messy, but by now, you've built enough momentum to power through it. And finally, the hardest category, sentimental items. This is where emotions run high. Old love letters, family heirlooms, baby clothes from your now teenage kid. These objects carry weight, not because they're useful, but because they hold memories. That's why you save this part for last. By the time you reach it, you've trained your ability to ask the right question. Does this still bring me joy? Or am I holding on to it out of obligation or nostalgia? When I followed this order, I noticed something surprising. Each category helped me fine-tune what I value. After I let go of clothes that didn't make me feel good, it was easier to let go of books that no longer inspired me. After sorting through miscellaneous things, I started recognizing what truly had meaning and what was just emotional clutter. It's like peeling back layers. You don't start with the most personal things, you work up to them. And by doing that, you not only clear physical space, but also build the emotional resilience to make decisions from a place of intention. So, if you're not sure where to begin, follow the order. Don't jump straight into the box of childhood memories. Start with the t-shirts you haven't worn since 2017. Trust the process. Each small decision sharpens your ability to make the next one. By the time you get to the sentimental stuff, you'll be ready, not just to decide what stays, but to honor what leaves. Tip 7. Keep only what truly brings you joy. Alright, this is where it all comes together. You've sorted your stuff. You've organized by category. You've created homes for things, cleaned intentionally, and even learned to prioritize. But here's the real heart of Japanese decluttering, and honestly, of minimalism in general. It's this one question. Does it spark joy? Simple, right? But it's more powerful than it sounds. See, most of us keep things because we might use them, or they were expensive, or someone gave them to us and we'd feel guilty letting go. But none of those are good enough reasons to let something live in your home and in your mental space forever. The Japanese concept, popularized by Marie Kondo, is rooted in emotion. You hold each item and ask yourself honestly, does this bring me joy? Not usefulness, not guilt, not obligation, joy. And you'll be surprised how clear the answer often is. I remember holding a shirt I hadn't worn in years. It fit fine, the color was okay, but every time I saw it I felt meh. Not bad, but definitely not joy. So I thanked it. It sounds silly, but there's something oddly respectful about it. And let it go. And suddenly, I had space in my closet that felt good. Now, imagine applying that feeling across your entire home. Your bookshelf only filled with books you truly love. Your kitchen filled with tools that make cooking a pleasure. Your walls, your shelves, even your junk drawer, filled only with things that make you smile. You don't need to justify what brings you joy. For some people, it might be a vintage teacup that reminds them of their grandmother. For others, it's a neon pink hoodie that makes them feel alive. If it makes you happy, it stays. If it doesn't, you thank it and release it. And here's the beauty of this method. It trains your intuition. At first, you might second-guess yourself. Well, I should keep this, right? But the more you ask that joy-based question, the more you develop what I like to call a joy radar. You start noticing when things feel heavy, when objects carry a quiet tension, when they're not serving you anymore, even if they once did. That clarity spreads into other parts of your life too. Suddenly, you're making better decisions with what you buy. You stop bringing things in just because they were on sale. You start choosing things that feel right. And the science backs this up. Neuroscience tells us that positive emotional cues, like joy, light up specific regions of the brain associated with memory, decision-making, and even motivation. So yes, joy isn't fluffy. It's functional. Of course, not everything in your home will spark joy. Your vacuum probably doesn't make your heart sing. But the idea is to balance the essentials with the emotionally meaningful. Keep what you need, and then choose what you love. One of my favorite tips is this. If you're torn about something, close your eyes and imagine your ideal home. Is that item in it? If the answer is no, then maybe it's not part of the life you're trying to build. So, as you move through your space, one item at a time, ask that deceptively simple question. Does this spark joy? If it does, keep it close. If it doesn't, set it free. Because your home should be more than just a place to store things. It should be a reflection of who you are and who you're becoming. And joy? That's the best compass you've got. So, here we are. After walking through these 7 Japanese-inspired decluttering tips, maybe you're starting to feel a shift. Not just in how you look at your home, but in how you look at your life. Because this isn't just about having fewer things. It's about making space for what matters. When your home is clear, your mind follows. You sleep better. You think more clearly. You feel calmer. And slowly, almost without realizing it, you begin to show up differently. In your work, in your relationships, even in how you treat yourself. You stop reacting to the noise around you and start responding from a place of clarity. And here's the best part. You don't have to overhaul your entire house overnight. You can start small. Today even. Pick one tiny category. Maybe it's just your t-shirts or your coffee mugs. Take 20 minutes, pull them all out, and ask yourself honestly, which ones do I actually love? Which ones make me feel good? Keep those. Let the rest go. You'll be amazed how even that one small step can shift your energy. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. So, if your life has been feeling a little cluttered lately, physically or mentally, know that you have more control than you think. And maybe, just maybe, the path to peace starts with one drawer, one decision, one joyful yes. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you feel inspired to create a space that truly supports who you are and who you're becoming.